Everyone, welcome to the Village of Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for March 2024. If you would all stand and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the board for those who may not be aware. Doesn't sound like it's on. To my far left, your far right, Ms. Beverly Silvera.
Hello?
Next is Mr. Michael Wozniak. Next is Mr. Ed DeJesus.
Good evening.
Next is Ms. Rachel Bruce.
Hello.
I'm Craig Brady. And our counsel to my right, your left, is Ms. Kelly Norton. Next regular meeting will be held Wednesday, April 10th of 2024. On to our agenda. We have no executive session this evening. Has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes.
I have.
Make a motion to accept as written.
Second.
2 seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? One abstain. We have no new business this evening. We have no actions on decisions. We have public hearings. The first is Woodbury Townhouses. It's a continuation of a public hearing requesting a series of variances related to the construction of 12 townhouse units with less than the required acreage and containing parking in the front yard. The property is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 231, Block 3, Lots 6.1, 6.2, and 7. We've received a request from Mr. Myro, counsel for the applicant, to adjourn and continue this public hearing until the June meeting. The Planning Board has not acted on SECR yet, so they cannot be held before our board. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to this application? Going once, going twice. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to the June meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Rachel. Second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's June 12th, for the record.
June 12th.
12.
Our next public hearing is Speyside. This is a continuation of a public hearing for Speyside Holdings 2, LLC, requesting a special permit for the operation of a sand and stone quarry from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday on property located in the R3A zoning district at 911 Route 32 in Highland Mills, known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as multiple sections 201-1-9, 202-1-3.7, 202-1-5, 201-1-23, 201-1-51, and 203-1-8.21. We have received a request from Mr. Joseph Churgan, counsel for the applicant, to continue and adjourn this public hearing, and I believe we're saying 60 days until the May meeting. May 8th. Is there anyone present wishing to speak to this application? Going once, going twice. Very good. Can I have a motion to continue this to the June meeting? May meeting.
I make the motion.
Motion by Rachel, second by Ed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Next, we have a public hearing for Valley Seafood requesting a variance for the construction and conversion of an existing structure to residential apartments. Whereas pursuant to sections 310-6F and 310-7, the proposed conversion requires 22,000 square feet of lot area and 21,209 square feet are provided. Said property is located in the HB zoning district along Valley Avenue in Highland Mills. Actually, that would be Central Valley. and is known in the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 206, Block 6, Lot 2. In this case, we've received a request from Mr. David Namatko, architect representing the applicant, to continue and adjourn the public hearing to our next April meeting, April 10th. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to this application? Going once, going twice. May I have a motion to continue the public hearing to the April 10th meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Beverly. Second. Second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. And our last public hearing for this meeting is 58 Quaker. This is a public hearing appealing the determination of Building Inspector Michael Pinello that the use of the property located at 58 Quaker Road, Highland Mills, allegedly a commercial business processing firewood, was not in violation of the Village of Woodbury zoning code. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 58 Quaker Road in Highland Mills and is known in the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 246, Block 1, Lot 52. Is the applicant present?
It's the only one. People here. So, good evening. Thank you.
Can you make sure that mic is on?
Can you hear me?
It probably isn't.
Is it on?
Oh, it is.
Okay.
It's very low.
That better? I can take it. Well, I'm not going to sing or anything. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for letting me entertain you with a little bit of my plight that I'm asking for you to review to decide if this is a piece of property that is legitimately available for this type of operation. So back in January of 23, Michael Pinella ruled on my first plight on this problem, and he said that this was considered a home occupation. Does anybody disagree with what he's saying?
Oh, nope, just give a presentation.
Okay, so Village Code Section 2208-4K is what Michael Pinella is expressing to me as the complainant, that his operation, his equipment, the noise that's being generated from his equipment is not for home occupation, but he's citing it as 208-4K, which is for home equipment use for your own lawn maintenance, your own yard work. You do not use a lawnmower 365 days a year, nor do you use a snow blower, nor do you use a chainsaw. These are all things in your regulations that you have a code for that you allow people to do. But if you're a home business, if you're a home occupation, he's not zoned for that. So it goes to, if a home occupation is considered in the state of New York, a garage sale is a home occupation, and you can only do 2 a year, then how is it that that home occupation is okay to cut wood and sell it, but it's not good for a home garage sale business? But I'll go a little bit past that and say that there's a supplementary regulation that you have. Now, this is except as an accessory use under special use. But as I see it, he hasn't been given a special use permit. And you don't have a permit allocated for a wood cutting, firewood, home occupation business. And when you don't have that, in your accessory, it says if you don't have so, it is prohibited to doing this act. Now, what is prohibited of the act? 310-24, outdoor display and storage. Number 1, the very first line on there. You cannot display or store the articles that you're selling. And we've already addressed the issue that he's a home occupation, so he's selling it. So how can he be allowed to store it and display it and put an ad in Facebook? But Michael Pinella, when goes by, doesn't realize that that's a code that I gave him in my complaint, and he still says that's not a violation. So if that's not a violation, then everybody can do it. And you have rules against that. And the reason why is because You don't want more people congregating in a neighborhood with cars and pedestrians walking by, and a guy that has no shield around his property wielding a 3-foot chainsaw in the middle of the street. You have right-of-ways. He's encroaching on the right-of-way. Michael Pinella's right-hand gentleman, Mr. I forget his name, but he was there on one of my complaints. The logs, I would say, probably are 2 to 3 ton apiece. I've sent you pictures of them. They're displayed out in the open, stored, stacked on top of each other, and the only thing holding them up from rolling down a hill is a thin tree. And he's chainsawing literally feet away from the street where children are walking by every day. So it's a residential neighborhood. So how can we have a home occupation that's not in the home, but it's outdoors where you have a restriction for that? And Michael Pinella made me spend $250 to come here to express that to you. Now, if it was in good faith and I spent the money,
He didn't make you spend.
no,
that.
he didn't. He said to me,
Make this application.
you're right, he didn't make me do anything. He actually omitted in his response the actual code that I cited to him and brought up a different code that helps the person doing the business as if it meant nothing. A home occupation is one thing. You tell me I can't run my lawnmower after certain hours, but it's acceptable and it's not considered a nuisance of noise. But yet you have Village of Woodbury, New York, Part 2, General Legislation Zoning, Article Interpretation, 310-52. The provision of this chapter shall be interpreted and applied to promote the public health, moral safety, and general welfare of the community, and shall not be held to appeal, abrogate, annul, or in any way to impair or interfere with any easements, covenants, or agreements between parties existing as the effective date. It goes on, uses not listed as permitted or permitted by special permit shall be deemed to be prohibited. But yet, I had to spend the time to show this to Michael, not once, but twice. And last year, when he gave me this notice on January 27th, and the gentleman was still cutting firewood, don't worry, more people are complaining, it's gonna go away. So I didn't do anything, and then he started up again. And I complained to Michael, and he goes, you passed the statute of limitations, you have to put another complaint in. So I do. And this time, I cite everything I just told you. It's black and white, it's in your codes. But if he's allowed to do it, then so is everybody else in town. And I'll give you one more food for thought. You zoned an area deemed for a dispensary for marijuana. You pushed it to an area of town that would be feasibly acceptable for people in town, because that's what you decided. There's a reason behind that. But you can't say that and then allow this. You can't say he's allowed to do a home occupation with storage outside and display and say he's only doing it once a week, but you're not putting a restriction on him. So you've given him the opportunity to do it 7 days a week. And by the way, I'm sure he can attest to it. His family is here. I videotaped them watching him for this for years, for the past few years. I've been living here for 23 years. My wife's been here for 50 years. They were nice people at first until they said, I can do this because I can. I complain, and then you say, not you, Michael Pinella says he can. He gives him a pass. So I've got to take time out to show that this is not legitimate. And yet, if it's not legitimate, then it opens a door for everybody else. Now, there are 2 different codes that I want to read to you where Michael states that it's acceptable and that he put it in his response to me. He said 208-4, specific acts constituting unreasonable noise. Now, I have an audio and I've sent it to you. I don't know if you listened to it, but I can play it for you so you know what I'm hearing and what you're not hearing. But Section K, that he said that he's not in violation, No person shall operate or use or cause to be operated any lawn maintenance device, including mowers, blowers, edgers, trimmers, chainsaws, and power-driven equipment, other than on weekdays between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. or sunset, whichever occurs later, or Saturdays and Sundays and holidays between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. And that's what Michael allowed this gentleman to do from then until now. But that's not lawn maintenance equipment. It's a home occupation business. No one cuts their lawn 7 days a week, 365 days a year with an annoying noise of a lawnmower, of a leaf blower, of a chainsaw. They do it on the weekends or whenever they feel fit, and then the season's over. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, not a day off. Whenever he's off, he's cutting the firewood. I live across the street. Now you're gonna talk about restrictions. You allow him to do this, not you. Michael allowed him to do this. I'm asking you to appeal this. But if you don't, okay, then you're just letting everybody know we can do the same. And a garage sale is a home occupation and can be done 7 days a week without restriction based upon what Michael Piniella is allowing to happen here. Now, I know it's going to be obnoxious, but I'm really sorry. It's really hard for me to say that it's not obnoxious when it's happening to me at all times. This is what I hear. And he's not stopping. And it's a constant. And it's 7 days a week. And when I complain, this is not annoying. But it's a little bit worse than that because it's obnoxious. Because you actually have a decibel reading that you have governing for people who have home equipment. And it's 7.5 or 75. He's at 85, 90. I videotaped it, audio taped it, I sent it to you. But Michael didn't get that, obviously. He didn't get that part. He didn't get the code that states that you can't display or store your articles for resale out for the public. That's all I want to say. I hope that you find in the right decision. But once again, I'm not going to be holding my breath. I'm assuming that it's going to go a different way, but I hope not. And if it doesn't go the right way where the building codes, and I will be wrong, I will have learned a lesson, but I will have an opportunity to start my own business. And I would just say thank you very much for your time. Oh, and I'm sorry, did anybody have a question since I only spoke and I didn't let you?
You said it all.
Okay.
I'll ask you a question. You're saying that, I don't know, is this still on? That this is occurring 24.
24/7, I'm sorry. It's
So-
7 days a week. I'm sorry, I meant to say.
So every day, 52 weeks a year, this is happening.
Depends on the weather, of course, and if he's home or not, but every day he's off, every day I see him out there. It's either splitting the wood, cutting the wood, but I'm sorry, we're splitting hairs. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, he's displaying it and storing it outdoors. So if he can do that,
That's not
then
what I'm
that means that it's not a home business,
No.
or you're allowing him to have a business outdoors.
I'm asking specifically about.
Okay, well, you're asking the wrong question. Because I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
So I'm not going to go back and forth.
Then don't.
The question I'm asking is he chopping wood 7 days a week?
Yes.
During the hours of, allowed by the code, 10 a.m. on to 6
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. You mean there's a code that allows him to sell firewood off his property?
So I'm not talking about selling.
No, it's the same
I'm-
thing. It's
no,
not semantics.
I'm
It's really the
asking-
code. You can't keep saying one thing and assuming that we're just going to bite it. It's a home occupation. You can't have one on a residential neighborhood. Why is this an issue? You're trying to make some allocation for him that he's allowed to cut firewood on those days that shows that this number 3 whatever dash 2084K is what he is. Then he's not at home occupation. And if he's not a home occupation, then he's in contradiction of your rules and regulations, which then it always goes to the higher standard, which is in your rules and regulations that says it's prohibited if you don't have a license to give him or a special use permit, which I didn't see that. But a special use permit is for a finite amount of time. It's not for indefinite in a residential neighborhood, because if it is, then you're opening the door for everybody else. If you want to ask the question again, you're right. He's doing it between the hours that's stated under this regulation of 208-4K. He's doing it just under that regulation, and if that's what you're holding him to, then he's not in violation.
So I'm not asking about 208 because actually we have no control or enforcement activities against Section 208. Our role is the Zoning Board of Appeals, so that means we have to deal with Section 310 and Section 310.
That's
only.
not the village, that's the...
That's the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Right.
Right, and you're appealing a decision of the building inspector.
No, Village of Woodbury.
I'm
Village of
speaking.
Woodbury. I'm sorry.
Speaking.
Yeah.
If you'd like to hear me out.
Sure.
We can only act by state law on actions under Section 310 related to decisions of a code enforcement officer, building inspector, related to zoning, Section 310 in our code.
Okay, so,
So anything related to Section 208 that you've cited is outside of our purview to enforce, discuss, or otherwise deal with.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
That's one.
That's fine.
Anything else?
Yes, so this board is limited by the recent opinion of the building inspector. So what you are actually appealing, and the only thing that this board can consider, is the opinion of the building inspector dated February 2nd, 2024. He actually made the interpretation and the determination that it was a home occupation a year ago, and your time frame to appeal that expired. So they can only consider this February 2nd, 2024 determination, wherein he did say that he did multiple on-site inspections over the past 50 days, and it was noted that only once was the owner in fact working, and whereas no violations were found of the village code at such time. So that is what is within this board's purview this evening. Did you have anything further to add
Sure.
to that
Sure.
for tonight?
Sure. Where is it that it allows him to store it outside? You keep going to what he can do. And I'm pointing out to you, not in my first, because I missed the statute of limitations. This is a second, plight that I have. And I brought up something different that I thought maybe was just overlooked. So I'm really asking, that's okay? You mean you can't govern, you mean the Village of Woodbury codes that are written, that are saying that you can't do anything about that, so I can actually do the same. I can do
I am not
all of
saying
that.
I am saying that the purview of the Zoning Board of Appeals is to review decisions and interpretations and determinations of the building inspector relative to Chapter 310, which is zoning.
310 is for something totally different than I'm asking for. Is it 310?
Then
This
you're at the-
No, I'm appealing the Village of Woodbury.
No.
His decision on telling me that he's a home occupation and that he's not in violation.
Occupation was a year ago.
But he's still a home occupation, no?
He is, but
Okay,
you
wait.
no longer-
If he's still a home occupation, why is he allowed to store his sellable items outdoors?
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
First of all, the storage of outdoor materials was mentioned nowhere in the submission that you made to this board.
Really?
No.
It's on the first page that I sent to you. There shall be no outdoor commercial display and storage of merchandise for sale, including used motorcycle vehicles. It's the very first one. Good morning all, complaint narrative for 58 Quaker Road. And I'm sorry, if you didn't get that, then maybe the reason why I spent my money for you to here to listen is to verify if I'm crazy or not. And I am crazy, but this is wrong.
When I just looked down, you actually put in bold 96.3, which was the wrong provision there. That's fine. You did say outdoor storage, my mistake, but that is something that this board can consider, is outdoor storage in the context of that one time that it was witnessed.
It's there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. He cannot say he was there 50 times and didn't see
He
it.
did not say that he was there 50
over the 50 days.
He said over 50 days.
Right, and he did not see it once? Are you kidding
He
me?
said he did see it once.
So it's not in violation?
Do you have anything further to add to your arguments and application before the?
No, I look forward to hearing your explanation on why he's allowed to store it and display it outdoors when it strictly says you can't do that. And Michael says that he's not in violation, so are you kidding me? You really, people are thinking that this is going away, that you can just dismiss this? I mean, the newspapers will get this. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. But thank you very much for your help. I'm glad my $250 did you well for night. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Charles Markle. I'm the landowner, 58 Quaker Road. And what was just spoken about, how long we cut wood and stuff like that, we do not do it 7 days a week. And very rarely is it an 8-hour day. We start mostly 4 hours cutting wood, and we're not in there 24 hours a day like 7 days a week. So that's the only thing I can say right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this application? Sure, please introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Antonio Cortese. I live on Evans Drive. I just want to say one thing. That wood pile on the corner is quite high, and it does block the view when you're turning the lanes. So that's my concern here. So that's what that's what I'm trying to say.
Understood.
So it's definitely blocking the view. Thank you.
Sure, thank you for the comments. Anyone else? Please.
I actually don't know if I have the right to speak because my name isn't on the application, but I actually I have property on Evans Drive. I was here a couple of weeks ago because I'm actually trying to build.
Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Lieber Bank.
Hi.
Hi. And I own the property that is across from the logging property. And I'm here because I am aware of what's going on. I've been given and sent videos, and I guess I want to speak before you because moving forward, hopefully I'll be able to build because it has been a hardship. That's not what we're here to talk about, but I do and am concerned as to whether or not, it will be, if I'll be able to sell the property based on what's taking place across from the residential property. It's not residential right now, but I hope to, since there's other residences, nearby. So that is all that I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to this application? Going once, going twice. Because of notice issues with Times Harbor Record, we are forced to continue this application, keep the public hearing open until next month.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay.
So may I have a motion from the board, from someone to continue the public hearing until our April meeting?
Make the motion.
Motion by Rachel,
Second.
second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
April 10th for everybody that's.
April 10th. And with no further business to conduct, I will accept a motion from someone to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.